game's dragging on. There's strikes on the batter, some runners are on. Then suddenly everyone's looking at me. My mind has been wondering, what could it be? They point to the sky and I look up above, and a baseball falls into my glove. I play right field. It's important you know. You gotta know how to catch. You gotta know how to throw. That's why I play in right field, way out where the dandelions grow.
As a proud sponsor of Little League Baseball, Pizza Hut welcomes all the kids who make it great.
Making it great.
Given this is season 10, I think now is a good time to take a look at a film franchise I always wanted to give an in-depth look into, but never had quite the full opportunity to do so. Until now, this is TMNT Movie Week on vaulting. Ow, 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 it's too tight, Ow, 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 the fabric's getting in my eyes. Ow, 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 ow. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You can't say that with a straight face. There's just something about it that brings a smile to you. Who knew that one simple idea led to an IP that's well recognized today? It all started when comic book creators Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird started working together, and Eastman drew a turtle with nunchucks just for fun. From there, Laird added the words Teenage Mutant to it, and they both felt there was enough material for a one-shot comic book. The issue was a massive underground hit, leading to a series that followed. With the comic book series doing well, Eastman and Laird licensed Turtles to Playmates Toys, who in return created the animated series to see if the Turtles had commercial value. In short, they did.
These heroes on the half shell are now in the top 20 best-selling toys in the country.
Your sons love those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
They did. It's an amazing story.
Even adults like them, too.
From the popularity of the toys to the success of the syndicated animated TV series, which was intended to be a 5-part miniseries, by the way, that just got expanded, Eastman and Laird's creations were becoming as popular as the next G.I. Joe, Transformer, or He-Man Masters of the Universe. But in my opinion, it was the live-action theatrical films that sent them straight into pop culture mainstay history. So all week long, we are taking a look at the theatrically released Turtle flicks to see the ups and downs of this franchise. And there's no better place to start with than the very first 1990 live-action film. The plot is set in New York, where an underground crime group is quietly making their rounds stealing stuff. A local news anchor named April Neal is investigating these crimes within her reports, and even showing how lackluster of help the police are.
Just what is it you hope to accomplish out there, besides busting my chops?
I think you know just as much as I do about this Foot Clan, and I don't think you're doing anything about it. Have you got something else?
Are you trying to tell me how to do my job?
Boy, that is certainly not relevant today. Eventually, she ends up learning of another quiet group that is trying to fight back against these mysterious thieves. In this case, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you gotta love her reaction when she sees them for the first time.
Loud noises!
Over the course of the movie, she ultimately starts to see how kind and family-like they are to the point they try to help each other. However, the crime group turns out to be the Ninja Foot Clan, led by the villainous Shredder. He plans to train a new wave of young members in order to maintain his discipline and brutal ways. And he also has his sights on silencing April's reports to avoid them from being exposed to the public, and plans to extinguish the turtles, for reasons I'll elaborate on later. For the most part, the plot is simple to follow and feels loose at times. It follows the tradition of a comic book adaptation by showing the origin of our characters, while saving the second half for the ultimate threat. This is not a bad way to pace your movie, as you get to show off the environment your characters live in, while establishing so much. I like how there's a lot of world building they get out of the way at the start, like the turtles' lifestyle and the problems New York faces on the surface above. It makes for a lot of rewatch value that helps you pick on some visual clues and lines of dialogue that enhance the world. There's minor things you can nitpick about, like how they're able to pay for pizza when they can't collect money, yet I'm okay to let that slide. I especially enjoy how much time we spend on these characters. You can tell everyone had a lot of fun, not just with the concept, but with working on this movie in general. They knew well enough to play it straight with the material as opposed to the cartoon where they have in-jokes and constantly break the fourth wall once in a while.
Somewhere, there must be a place where we can belong.
Listen, if he starts singing, I'd advise you to switch over to another channel.
I don't have a problem with all that, and I still enjoyed the Fred Wolf series fine. But for a movie, you want to get sucked into this world and really enjoy your time with the heroes and villains you're given. Then again, even the live-action movie knows how to joke around too, like having some of the voice actors and suit performers of the Turtles make small cameos in certain places. Admittingly, that's funny, but also cool. The Turtles themselves are fun, and I enjoy watching them act each other off like a band of brothers. Leonardo is the leader, Raphael is the angry one, Michelangelo is the party animal, and Donatello is the brains. They share a lot of screen time together and certainly are the center of the film. It's hard for me to select a favorite, but I admit to finding Raphael being the most interesting. While the character arc of the Turtles is learning how to work together, it's more deeper for Raph as he learns how to cope with his frustrations. It's something I can easily connect with given how something simple as losing a weapon or a fight with a vigilante can be stressful. Weirdly, my favorite character has to be their sensei master, Splinter. Just the idea of learning a jutsu from a mutated rodent is just amusing to me. Much like in the cartoon, he can be wise and all-knowing while still have a soft spot for his amphibious students, and occasionally can crack a joke when needed.
I've tried to channel your anger, Raphael, but more remains. For you choose to face this enemy alone. But as you face it, do not forget them, and do not forget me.
I know I'll talk about the special effects later, but it still amazes me to see a range of emotions coming out of a cable hand puppet. Of course, you need human characters to carry the film as well, and they are interesting too. Judith Hoag is really fun to watch as a local reporter, April O'Neil. I like how she is determined to dig under the surface when it comes to finding out about the local crimes. She's not a cutout character, and shows determination in her work, even if it does get her into trouble. Her scenes when she shares the screen with the Turtles are easily the best, especially when she learns of their origins and must help them when their Master Splinter gets kidnapped.
I'm not dreaming, am I?
No, I'm afraid not.
Fun fact, they were going to have this April wear her famous yellow jumpsuit from the animated series, but it looks kind of ridiculous and switched out for a raincoat instead. Probably for the best, as it would have been pretty weird to see Gwen Piper don an awkward yellow onesie for a good duration of the movie. I also like Elias Koteas as Casey Jones, a street vigilante that tries to take justice to the streets by his own rules. There's definitely a lot of great wit when he's pitted against the Turtles, and I like how early on they play around whether he's good or bad. That does get answered very quickly midway, and he eventually becomes a perfect ally for the Turtles. He even owns a major collection of sports accessories that he uses for combat. I don't know why, but that element alone just cracks me up over how he can carry a cricket bat.
You gotta know what a crumpet is to understand cricket. I'll teach you.
I also enjoy how Koteas' sardonic performance really adds to the depiction. It makes for a fun scoundrel that you want to root for. And the guy later proves he does have morals. A moment that gets often overlooked is when he convinces the troubled kids how hypocritical the Shredder's teachings have been. It's brief, but man, does it stick.
We're a family. Family? You call this here and that down there Family.
Casey.
And that is all you just need right there. No speech, no takedown, just one simple question to completely prove that all of their learnings from the Shredder are pure Bolshevik. Oh, it's moments like these that do make me wish they carried over Casey Jones in The Secret of the Ooze. The main villain, the Shredder, is also intimidating too. Despite being dubbed over by another actor, James Saito still gives a menace just from the body language. It's like if the grace and anger of Darth Vader was placed on a war general. Just one glare at his henchman or a twist of his hand just speaks a lot of language. They give valid reasons for why he's going after the turtles. Apparently Splinter was a pet rat of Shredder's rival, Hamato Yoshi, who knows the lighter ways of the martial arts.
Why do the turtles trouble you, Master?
Something about the way you describe their fighting. Something familiar. Something from the past.
I sense something, a presence I've not felt since...
With the turtles learning this way of teaching, Shredder hopes to snuff them out and let his legacy live on with a bunch of young recruits. As absurd as he looks, this is still a very frightening villain. Even as he provides a Pleasure Island-style paradise for the kids, you sense there's something off with the method of teaching and brutal mentality.
Never lower your eyes to an enemy.
Nuts to this. At least I can still join Cobra Kai.
Hey! You lose concentration of fighting your dead meat.
Yes, Sensei.
What?
Yes, Sensei.
On the other hand, the Foot Clan does have Pepsi, Burger King, cigars, arcade machines, a crummy health plan at that. But you know what they say? The grass is always greener on the other villain's side. I also dig the Danny character who joins the Foot Clan over his frustrations with family life. He acts as an open view to understanding how this gang of ninja thieves work. I even like how he starts to realize how wrong things are and tries to seek redemption. Is it cliché? Yeah, but I like the way they handle his arc, going from a troubled teen to understanding true moral.
My dad could care less about me.
I doubt that is true.
Why?
All fathers care for their sons.
What I find interesting is when some review this movie, they often compare it more to the 1987 Saturday morning cartoon. Even the tagline on the poster seems to allude to being a big screen adaptation of the show. However, the backbone of this adaptation is more in tune with the Eastman and Laird comics. The filmmakers literally took out specific scenes and tried to string a story around them. The destruction of April's apartment, the fight with Casey Jones, recouping at the country house, the fight with Shredder, all of those were literally ripped from the pages, and even the original creators were consulted for ideas. Granted, some elements of the cartoon are carried over, like the turtles having different colored bandanas, April being a reporter instead of a lab assistant, and their ultimate love for pizza.
Well, question.
Yeah?
Do you like penicillin on your pizza?
In some way, one can view this as a more mature adaptation of the cartoon, but in actuality, it's only an adaptation of the original comics. Though, while it does share its lighter moments, I appreciate how it doesn't hold back on the darker and grittier moments without overdoing it. Nowhere near is that perfect a show than in the action scenes. I understand there were parental concerns back then in the level of violence, but this is relatively tame compared by today. There is no bloodshed, no arms get ripped off. It is all executed in a more flashy and stylized way that is brisk and cool. There are times when the fight scenes can be comedic, and they know when to increase the tension. It all depends on the staging and execution, so it takes off the brutal edge. Even the one-liners help balance things out by being delivered in a more tongue-in-cheek manner. Here's a sample of some of my favorites I like to quote.
Hey, Donnie! Wheel of Fortune, dude!
I guess they're not game show fans.
And I thought everybody loved Venom.
A Jose Canseco bat? Tell me, You didn't pay money for this.
It was a shell of a good hit.
I like it. Step up.
Yes.
I think these guys are lumberjacks.
No joke. The only thing safe in the woods would be the trees.
Now, at exactly what point did we lose control here?
Oh, no more? I'll never call golf a dull game again.
So you're probably thinking this is a major no-brainer, and major film studios are ready to pounce on and finance this thing. In actuality, the road to getting this movie made was a lot more harder than you can imagine. It was pitched around to a couple of high-powered studios like Warner Brothers, Disney, and have you. The problem is that they either didn't get it, or simply could not just get past the title. In fact, even when this was pitched over to a couple of people at the Cannes Film Festival, so few really connected to it. The budget was raised in some pre-sales with Golden Harvest, given a deal to do it for $2 million and made in Hong Kong. However, plans changed when the special effects proved to be very costly and could only extend their budget to $7 million. Thankfully, New Line Cinema was able to buy the production and apply additional funding in exchange for domestic distribution. Because nothing says like making Hollywood history than getting your backing from the American studio that made Freddy Krueger a household name, and getting a martial arts team from the house that provided us so many Bruce Lee movies and the Sex and Zen films. Wait, what? As for the special effects, where do I begin? These animatronic suits were crafted by the Jim Henson Creature Shop, and they still look damn impressive. Even Jim Henson admits these were the most technologically advanced and best they ever did at the time. Given they experimented before with animatronic radio-controlled suits on various productions, it gave great way to experiment further with ones that had to provide stuntmen the will to do various actions. It was challenging, but man, it looks great. You look past the seams and just get invested in these action scenes, when one puppet's talking to another, and then... Ah! Did Donatello just eat a crew member? No, it's best I didn't think about it. It'll keep me up all night. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is notable for being the last movie production Jim Henson gave his approval for when he was still alive. While he had concerns about the dark nature and level of violence, Jim still wanted to push the boundaries of his craft and still felt it was a fun concept. Most of the production was looked over by his son Brian Henson, and even Elmo Muppeteer Kevin Clash helped out as well. By the way, Kevin Clash puppeteering and voicing Splinter is damn awesome. He really channels the whispering and wise tone of the character so beautifully well. But the biggest element that really keeps this movie working well is the director, Steve Barron. Good lord, this guy is amazing. He worked on a variety of music videos for Michael Jackson and David Bowie, as well as directing some episodes of Jim Henson's The Storyteller. Given his familiarity with animatronics, it really helped to know how to work with the tech and have patience when these things broke down. He clearly showed a major respect for the original comic book, and that's reflected here with the dark and gritty cinematography. It has a very otherworld look that is not too removed from reality, but still looks believable. It's just a shame that he never got to finish editing the movie. From what I recollect, Barron had problems with the studio heads during post-production over how to piece the movie together. Originally, he wanted this adaptation to have a more punk vibe and try to get Malcolm McLaren to score the movie, who was notable for being the manager for Sex Pistols and mixing classic music with a modern twist. Supposedly, there does exist an early cut of the movie with McLaren's music, and the only hint we get is the trailer being set to House of the Blue Danube. And the Danny character wearing a Sid Vicious t-shirt. Instead, Monty Python collaborator John Duprez was hired on, and as timid to admit, I think it was a fair trade-off. As bold as it would have been to have a radical score, Duprez's musical score does manage to lighten the tone of the film with a synthesizer score that gives a throwback to the martial art films of the 1980s. The fun beats during the opening theme, the rising tension during the fight scenes, there's something about it that feels simplistic, yet iconic in its own right. Spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear how this movie ends. The Turtles go up against the Shredder and don't succeed well. Splinter, however, rises to the challenge and manages to recognize Shredder for being the murderer of his owner. It's a long story. I don't want to give too much away for newcomers. Shredder goes for the kill, but Splinter trips him with Michelangelo's nunchucks and sends him into a dump truck. Personally, I never found this scene anticlimactic like so many others did. I haven't viewed it as a battle between brawn and brain, which is cemented well when Splinter gives him the final word.
Death comes for us all, Urokusaki. But something much worse comes for you. For when you die, it will be without honor.
As cool as it would have been to see these two fight it out, it's Splinter's final say that actually makes this more of a fight between two different ideologies. I know some folks tend to overlook it when they analyze the scene, but for me, it's that little bit alone that saves this from being disappointing. When the first Turtles movie was released in March 1990, there was a lot of hype surrounding it. Even right down to Burger King offering VHS tapes of select episodes from the cartoon show that featured a trailer for the movie at the tail end. Come to think of it, I wonder if Burger King regrets this promotion given how most of their merch would be seen in the Foot Clan's lair. Then again, it's much better than what they did to Sugar Puffs in one of the Doctor Who movies. When the live-action movie got released, it received a mixed reception from critics that didn't get it. But the right folks that did get it was the audience. At the time, it was the highest-grossing independent film, and it held that title until the Blair Witch Project broke that record. To this day, it is heavily talked about as being one of the 3 comic book adaptations that launched a variety of others. No denying it was sandwiched between Tim Burton's Batman and Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy as movies that took their comic book counterparts in dark and gritty directions, yet turned out as commercially successful ventures. The final thing I want to bring up is that when it comes to home video releases, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles never got the special edition treatment. I keep hearing how Eastman and Laird want to show off some stuff like certain deleted scenes and other bonus features, but I guess there's some kind of legal issue behind it. Umbrella Entertainment has put out a version of the movie dubbed Stinkovision. Because, yeah, the last thing I need to do is watch a movie and smell it through scratch and sniff cards. I feel like this gimmick only worked for John Waters' Polyester given the camp nature of the flick. The last thing I want to smell is the sewer the garbage Shredder falls into. If you want a true special edition for all you physical media collectors, go get the German release by Alive Entertainment. It's packed with a highly informative audio commentary by director Steve Barron, alternate takes of censored scenes for international release, and even an extended ending that is interesting, but I'm glad it got cut. Having April pitch a comic book idea of the Turtles and getting it shot down sounds like a bit of a jab at all the major Hollywood studios that turned away from this movie. In my opinion, compared to everything else in this movie, it feels a little too on the nose, if you ask me. Overall, I really like this movie. It's a great family film, has some strong messages for the kids, and I really like how it teeters between a traditional martial arts film and satirizing it. Also, you have the best talents at work coming together and really doing something special. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles proves that with the right performers, the right direction, and the right vision, will make for something truly special. And we can thank this movie for showing that even the most absurd of concepts, like Guardians of the Galaxy, can be enjoyed with the right people at play. This is more than a high recommendation, but a must-watch. With all that success in a play, many wondered what was next for the Turtles. And boy, we certainly weren't prepared for where it would go. Tune in tomorrow as we take a look at the sequel. have to. Turtles smelleth honor, turtles smelleth honor. Oh! Oh! Damn, that's nasty! Ah!
They're back in an awesome new movie.
Didn't we see these guys on WrestleMania?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Rated PG. Now playing at a theater near you.
Cut.
Yeah, I went out to dinner with Jim after that, and we drove past a movie theater, and there were lines of kids with the whole outfits on, and man, we saw the emotion, and he said, "Wow, this movie's a big hit." So yeah, that was the last film that he was, he was on. I was glad that he was there around to see the success of Ninja Turtles also.